Hey, welcome to Lead Up Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Harbour. Always excited to have you join me. I'm here to inspire, challenge, equip you to become the kind of leader others willingly follow. I call that elite leadership. This is episode 446. I'm really glad that you continue to join me. If you're a returning listener, if you're new, welcome to the Lead Up Podcast. You got a lot of catching up to do, but not today. Tune in, listen in, grab your notes, grab a pen. I'm going to challenge you to take some things down that are going to help you lead at that next level today. Today's episode is all about what I believe is the foundational element of leadership, the mindset. This is an episode that I talk frequently about, but I'm calling this mindset mastery, shaping team destiny through vision and belief. I believe that whatever is between our ears is going to determine how we show up as a leader, how we treat others, how we communicate with others. So here's a question to kick us off. And I want you to really reflect on this as you listen today. Use this as a guiding question for yourself as you listen to the things that I'm going to share with you today. What does your mindset say about your leadership? Let me repeat that. What does your mindset, what does my mindset, just ask it to yourself, what does my mindset say about my leadership? Just think about that for a moment. Your mindset shapes how you see challenges, how you approach solutions, how you engage your team. But it doesn't stop there. Your mindset is also contagious. It directly impacts your team's performance, their belief in the mission, and ultimately the success of the organization. Their belief in you. Your mindset is a trigger for their belief and confidence in your leadership. So today we're going to go deep and explore how a leader's mindset can shape the destiny of their team. We're going to talk about building a shared vision, the power of belief to drive behavior, and how you can foster a culture that empowers people to believe that anything is possible. So stick with me. I'm going to be sharing some practical steps. That's why I say grab your pen and notebook. I want you to take note of some practical steps that can help you, wherever you are in leadership, whatever team you lead, to help you reshape that culture and shifting mindset and give you some actionable takeaways to help you start transforming your mind, hopefully, and the mindset of those that you lead as well. So let's get started. First, we're going to talk about building a mindset of shared vision. Why is this important? Look, if we can't get our team on the same page, if we can't get them to see the same things that we see, we can't get them there. If there's one thing I've learned as a leader, it's this: vision is nothing without alignment. I can have all the beautiful visions, images, dreams in my head, but if I can't create alignment, then I'm going to be in trouble as a leader. And so that alignment begins with mindset. How do I create that? Clarity of vision is important, but here's the disconnect. I often see in leaders this disconnect. They have the vision in their heads, but their behavior, their attitudes, their actions don't align with that vision. And as a result, the team will operate in silos, lacking direction and cohesion. Let me ask you for just a minute. Do you know the values of the organization? Do you know the mission statement of the organization? If I were walking with you right now, could you, from memory, without reading, without looking at the values on the wall, could you tell me what they are? If I did that with your team, if we went out and talked to your team and asked them, hey, what are the 3, 5, 7 core values of our team, of our department, of our organization? Could they share those with me? See, often we put out these values and these mission statements, and then because we don't own them, we don't lead from them, our actions, our behavior, the way we treat others are out of alignment. And if you want to create alignment, it begins with you as a leader. Here's a story that I want to share with you from a client of mine, a hospital department, faced some challenges in their department. Morale was low. Turnover in the organization was skyrocketing. It was high. Customer service challenges. But instead of focusing solely on external factors, the leader will call hope no pun intended here, real name, Hope, inspired her department, this human resources department. Vital in helping reduce turnover, vital in customer service issues. And they decided to focus inwardly instead of the complaints and challenges that were coming at them externally. They started meeting weekly with their team. She started meeting weekly with her team, not to talk about the demands of the job, but to engage them in conversations about the why behind the work, why the work was important and how we did it. They talked about the future. What did the ideal department culture look like? How would they work together to get there? Slowly, a shift began to happen. And by focusing on a mindset of shared vision, the team stopped focusing on limitations and pointing fingers at others, and they began focusing on possibilities. And over the next 18 months, turnover rates began to decline. Customer complaints from out in the organization began to decline. Employee engagement in that department especially went up. They began to improve dramatically over time. This doesn't happen overnight, but what it does begin with is alignment around vision, a shared vision, communication, getting your team on the same page, which is very, very important. Here's a key takeaway for you. Your team will only buy into the vision they see you genuinely believe in yourself. And if you connect them to that bigger picture, they'll buy in and go with you. We have to go first. Leaders go first. So here's your action item from point number one. Schedule 30 minutes with your team and ask this single game-changing question. What kind of team do we want to become? And how will we work together to make that happen? Just start with that simple question. Ask why we're not there yet. What's preventing us from getting there? Write down these answers and then tie them back to that shared vision that you're wanting to create as a leader. So that's kind of step number one. Step number two is this power of belief to drive behavior. I want to talk to you about something that ties directly into mindset and shared vision. It's belief, the power of belief. A leader's belief system shapes everything. Oftentimes we have a lot of BS going on in our head. Belief system. I call it BS because sometimes it's pointing us in the wrong direction. There's a principle I teach in my book, Power Principles. You can find that on Amazon if you're interested. It's called Power Principles, 12 Great Affirmations for Leaders. But what we become what we believe. We don't become what we want. We become what we believe. Like, just think about this for a minute. Many of us, we want to be fit and trim and young and healthy. We want that. But does our belief line up with that? Do we believe we can actually have that? Do we believe we can be rich? Do we believe we can have a team where there are no drama, problems, no challenges there? Or do we just want that? See, I work with leaders all over the country. They want a fully functioning team full of high-performing team members and team players. But then they'll say, I just don't believe that's possible today with today's workforce. See, their belief is counter to what they want, what they desire, what they really want to happen. See, if you believe your team is limited, they'll perform to meet your expectations, your low expectations. But if you believe their potential is unlimited, then if you begin to activate that, they'll rise to meet that. I've often said, I heard this a long time ago, I'm not sure where I heard it, it was maybe in the military, but people will rise to our level of expectations, but fall to the level of their training. See, we have expectations and they'll rise to that, but we have to believe it's possible. We do that by creating belief inside of them through training and development. That's what we do really well here at Harbour Resources, is help leaders change their mindset, shift that, and then implement that into the organization. This is where mindset of the leader really shines, or it falters. Your belief sets the tone for how your team is going to operate on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis. The truth is, it's really simple. Belief drives behavior. If we want behavior change, then we have to work on belief change. It begins with you, the leader. I know that's twice. I've given you two things that you want to work on, but it begins with you, your belief about yourself, about your own ability as a leader, but also your belief about your team. And is that vision possible? Are they able to achieve that? If you believe that challenges are simply opportunities to grow, you'll face problems with creativity and resilience. On the flip side, if you operate out of fear or doubt, you'll avoid risk and missed opportunities for innovation. Let me share with you another department leader, Lisa. Frontline staff didn't feel empowered to make decisions. The manager recognized that team's hesitancy stemmed from a culture of micromanagement. And by shifting her own mindset, seeing her role as an encourager rather than a controller, she was able to begin to empower her staff to make decisions. The result, increased efficiency, a stronger sense of ownership among team members, higher morale, higher productivity, less frustrations and complaints in there, less hard conversations the leader had to have. Just from a simple mindset shift. Ask yourself this question: what do I believe about my team? How do those beliefs drive my leadership behavior? This is a critical step in leadership that we all have to eventually answer. Like, this is next level, what I call elite level leadership. Are you willing to evaluate your own belief about those that you lead, either individually or corporately? And then how does that belief drive your behavior toward those individuals? Look, we can just look outside in the world. I'm a believer in looking inside. But right now, if you just look at the outside world, the beliefs that we have about our fellow human beings in the world today it's sick, it's miserable, it's infecting everybody. And really, we're pointing the finger at other people who don't believe, don't act, don't do the things that we do versus, hey, what do I believe? What do I believe about other human beings? What do I believe about people that don't believe like me? And how do I treat them? How do I lead them well? How do I communicate? How do I see things from their perspective? This all trickles into our leadership and our behavior. So here's your action step from that point is write down 3 ways you can reinforce positive beliefs about your team. Not how they can do it, but how you can do it. What are 3 ways? You might pick up my book, Quit Losing Talent, just study the tactical praise chapter and pick up some ideas there and how you can tactically praise, begin to proactively look at ways to build better belief in those that you lead. And then I want you to share those beliefs directly with your team. Next week, I want you to make sure you also listen to our podcast. This week is about mindset. Next week is also about mindset, the high-performing mind. I've got an author named Andrew Armstrong that's written a book, High-Performing Mind. And we'll talk about some things that you can do to continue to improve on this concept we're talking about today. Let me share a few practices to foster a culture of empowerment for you. Mindset mastery doesn't stop with you. You know that. It has to be a trickle-down effect. It's about creating an environment where your team thrives. Leaders who inspire their teams to believe in possibility do 3 things well. Now, let me before I share these 3 things with you, let me say this. It's our job to inspire our teams to believe in possibility, to believe in their potential. One of the pandemics of the world today, or epidemics of the world today, is a lack of belief in self, a lack of belief in our ability to thrive, a lack of belief in leaders. But if we do this well, leaders, for you create an environment where people can thrive. That's your job as a leader. Now let's look at 3 things you can do. Number 1, model courage and optimism. Show your team it's okay to step into the unknown territory by doing so yourself. One of the best ways to inspire belief is to model it, even if you don't have all the answers. I was having lunch with my kids recently. They're both in their 20s, but we were reflecting on some fun that we had when they were younger. We went cliff diving at this lake. We were jumping on it. It seemed higher than it was. It's probably maybe 20 feet. We were jumping off these cliffs from 20 feet. And, my son wanted to do it, but he's like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years old. I can't remember how old he was, fairly young, maybe 12. And he wouldn't go by himself. And I didn't really want to do it because, believe it or not, I'm scared of heights. Yet I've rappelled out of helicopters. We go hike. We climb on ledges, those kind of things. I really don't like it, but I do it. And part of it is just modeling that courage, modeling that optimism that it's possible. And, we climbed to those top of those cliffs, and I jumped off, and then soon after, my son, followed me. Where do you need to model courage? Where do you need to model optimism? Where do you need to model taking a risk? Where do you need to model letting people fail? That's one way to build better belief and mindset with people. Number two is make failure a learning opportunity. This is what elite leaders do. When people fail, we allow them to take that risk, but when they fail, we gotta create this psychological safety by framing mistakes as learning moments. Look, in most cases, nothing is life or death. Now, if you're in the OR and you're doing heart surgery or brain surgery or anything like that where it means life or death, or if you're mixing drugs for patients, whatever it may be, there are certain things that are life and death. Like, I don't want the pilot of my plane to make a mistake that's fatal. But most things are learning. Everything I do, just like this podcast, I started by making mistakes to get better and better. Here I am, 448 episodes in, 446. See, we have to make mistakes to get better. When your team knows failure isn't punished, they're more willing to take the kind of risks that spark innovation. That's better for you as a leader because they bring ideas to you. And then number three, what elite leaders do is they celebrate progress. Acknowledging small wins reinforces the belief that growth is always possible. Everybody gets to learn from that. We don't beat people up. We don't make fun of people. We don't micro-bully people because they tried something and it failed. No matter how big the challenge ahead, what we want to do is celebrate the progress. This is a way that you build your belief and you build your belief in others. Oftentimes, I had a leader one time tell me, Mike, just borrow my belief in you. I didn't necessarily believe in myself, but this leader said, borrow my belief in you. I believe you can do it. So sometimes we need to borrow my belief in you, leader, and then challenge your employees to borrow your belief in them. I've worked with organizations that have used these exact strategies I'm teaching today to improve team engagement by 40, 50, 60% within a year. It all started with shifting from a culture of fear to one of possibility, and it began with a leadership mindset shift. It begins with you, the leader. So here's what I want you to do. Take 10 minutes with your team. Ask these two questions. What's a recent success we can celebrate? What's one impossible challenge we can solve together? Possibility begins with belief, and belief begins with you as the leader. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? I believe in your people. Do you believe in your people? I want to leave you with this challenge. Close your eyes for a moment. Unless you're driving and listening, don't do that. Close your eyes for a moment and just visualize your ideal team culture. What does it look like? How does your team communicate? How do they tackle challenges together? Once you've got that vision, I want you to ask yourself, what beliefs and behaviors must I adopt to make that vision a reality? See, mindset mastery is not about denying challenges. It's about equipping yourself and your team with the belief that challenges are the stepping stones to success. You have the ability to drive that. It begins with you, your vision, your belief, your actions, your behavior. Henry Ford once said this, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Hey, I hope this has been a valuable episode on the Lead Up Podcast for you. Let us know what you think. Leave us a review on your favorite listening platform. Share this episode with your friends, colleagues, leaders that you know have some belief challenges. Don't tell them that. Just say, hey, I listened to this and it made an impact on me. I thought you would like it too. I hope you found this valuable. Until the next episode of the Lead Up Podcast, I just want to challenge you to lead well, be an elite leader, keep leading up. I'll see you on the next episode of the Lead Up Podcast.